Were people confused when you played your normal repertoire? I think by the end of that period, like I stopped gaslighting people and kind of told them who he is. So the mystery got resolved. But for the first couple of days, it was definitely fun to pretend I'm doing something completely out of the left field. How do you like your experience in helping Kirill Alekseenko? Kirill is a very, very nice guy. Chess-wise, it's been honestly a little bit difficult, not because of him, but because of me. Because for me, choosing to second him was, the first real structured chess work I've done in quite some time. Because it's kind of difficult for me to find motivation these days to work on openings in particular for myself, because there's really not very much for me to that really feels like it requires in-depth preparation. The way my opponent has played it here, I'm kind of tempted to play h5 just to never have to think about the king side again. It's not the best move in the position probably, but stopping g4 g5 is actually a huge big deal. And then we can sort of even plans like g6 and then king f8 king g7 exists. And yeah, rook d g1 already shows that I can definitely relate to this as somebody who has banged his head against this particular wall more than once with the white pieces. Your normal landmarks, if you play the Sicilian with white, like your normal landmarks are all completely screwed up by the fact that there's a pawn on h5, and you just have to go for plans that you haven't seen before. And I think it's very normal that my opponent got very confused by this. Yeah, this question also is like I don't want to sound particularly snarky, but I do pay attention to chat, and if there's a question that has gone unanswered for like the first 2 or 3 times, asking it the fourth time is probably not going to bring you very much success. So just a general note, I kind of prefer the questions to not be spammed. I can't answer every single one of them. I do answer the ones that I find interesting. And that should generally work as intended. I don't know, like, it feels like I should have a forced win here, but I don't see it, so I'll just play something which is generally strong and not overthink it. How can I challenge you? You see my screen name below my pieces on the screen, so yeah, and there's also the exclamation mark challenge, but assuming you know how the Lichess interface works, it's not very difficult. Yeah, that's not entirely what I'm saying, but I do feel that the question people seem to be extremely interested in, the one about Morphe, is it's sort of exactly the type of a question I don't like in general, because like historical comparisons are largely pointless, I feel. Like I just don't see. I don't. The question of whether the current crop is stronger than the legends of the past, and I would say exactly the same about the question or in regards to Fischer himself, for instance. Like I genuinely don't really care if towards the end of their careers, the question of whether Magnus or Fischer or Kasparov will be named the greatest player in history when they're done playing. I only think about it when people ask me. I genuinely have not spent a single second of my life thinking about those questions outside of being in interviews. So yeah, I think the whole genre is kind of tired and boring.